Hello, welcome to another episode of RimWorld with our friends Jop, Gabe, Nathan, and Will. This is episode 3, and today we start with a bit of field work with Will. Later on, Gabe will hop in once Will goes to bed, so we can finally get that rice that has been done for several days now. On the left-hand side, you'll see I've mapped out some mining work for Jop. That'll be the layout for Will's bedroom and also the kitchen area. At the entrance will be the butchering room, south from that is Will's room, to the north the kitchen, and the large room on the left will be the storage for raw ingredients and finished meals for now. Eventually we'll find another place for that. I'd like to turn that into a freezer, but that's a very long ways down the technological tree. Currently, I feel at a bit of a crossroads though with what to do with the base setup. I do wish to use the area to the south because of its defensive advantages, but I'm having trouble figuring out an efficient way to have the kitchen by the field without making everyone have to walk so far across the map just to get some grub. I'm sure we'll figure it out when we get there, but that's the main thing on my mind for right now. I may have to just carve my way through the mountain area, but that would probably take forever as Chop is our only miner and he's also our slowest worker. For now, the main focus will just be getting Will's area done, though. As the colony heads to bed with Gabe hauling the last bit of rice to a stockpile, we join our night owl Will in the southern part of our base, where he and Gabe spent most of the day previous chopping wood for the construction projects we've lined up. But, unfortunately, he suffers from a minor mental break and will be going on a food binge for the rest of the night. His mood was in a decent spot given the circumstances of the colony, but this is simply a side effect of the gourmand trait. Apparently this mental break will only trigger if you have more than 10 meals worth of food stocked up, though I only have 8 at the time of the break, so I'm not sure if that includes the rice and raw meat also stored. Either way, he goes pretty rampant, eating all 8 meals we currently have stored over the next several hours, as well as some berries, which I was a little concerned about giving him food poisoning, but he does manage to make it through, as healthy as can be. Early on in the next morning, we find Gabe, after spending some time by the fire with Jop, working on one more outfit for the colony, his own tribal wear. With this, no one will be suffering from the ill effects of brazen nudity among the camp, and hopefully that gets us one step closer to being mental break free in the early game. While that's happening, Nathan is already out in the field and has tamed our first wild muffalo to be a part of the colony. Muffalos do need to be within a pen, which we have not built yet, but we should get around to doing so shortly. They are primarily a caravan animal, so we can load them up whenever we wish to travel to another colony and trade or whatever our intentions may be. A muffalo can also yield plenty of fur, which is good for clothing or furniture, because cotton can just take forever to build, and that's really our only other source of plant or clothing kind of cloth material for most of the game at like a reliable rate. Anyways, with that complete, Nathan will continue his work out in the field and do some hunting, while Jop is still at home, mining away, clearing the kitchen out. And Will is just aimlessly wandering around in his food-induced trance, not contributing anything at all. Not too long after our last update, Will was able to break free from the shackles of his stomach and make some meals for the rest of the colony, and since then he's been sleeping away through the midday and should be awake shortly. In that time, Nathan was fairly active with his hunting and hauled in a lot of meat to keep Will busy with cooking for the next few days, I'm sure, and hopefully without having to hunt, Nathan can get on research, which Jop is about to make a possibility. He's currently building a research bench. The bench is basically the tool to advance our colony to eventually finishing the game. It'll allow us to build better clothing, furniture, weapons, anything in the game. I do kind of want to try playing the game and research everything, like generally just kind of going a quick path, not deviating and just get to the end game, but I'm like, I'd like to research everything. just so we can advance through the ages. Because if you research everything in the tribal age, which we're in right now, everything else will be like easier to research. I'm not sure if it'll pay off. I don't think it will. But our first bit of research will be the beer brewery, or beer brewing, I should say. Mainly because it's simply the easiest thing to research, but it's also, Gabe has a trait called chemical fascination, which will lead him to suffer a mood penalty if not satisfied with some sort of drug, be it beer or whatever other substance. Beer can be tricky to ferment if the barrels that you keep it in to ferment get too hot or cold. The entire batch will be lost, so I'm not sure how it'll go, but I'll try my best to at least get a bit of something going on. Meanwhile, Gabe sows the cotton fields, which I'm not sure if I'm going to keep around past just the one harvest. Now that we have the muffalo, there's not really a need to waste just our tiny patch of fertile soil on cotton, which takes, even with fertile soil, a long time to grow. We'll see. With Will having done most of the field work overnight, but still a work in progress, Gabe is able to join him in the morning with a small little plot that I've allocated for Smoke Leaf in the northwest. Smoke Leaf, as the name is pretty clear, is just an equivalent to marijuana in the RimWorld galaxy. And it's something we can already make, so it's a bit easier than beer brewing, though I still will be going forward with beer brewing, of course. But just something that we can get out of the way quickly for Gabe's chemical desires. With the Muffalo pen being completed by Jop, we are now able to shepherd the Muffalo from the north side of the map, and we can watch Nathan head off to do that as we speak. Not too much to say about the pen. The Muffalo will be able to feed on the grass that naturally grows in the area, so I don't think she'll require too much maintenance. Though I'm not sure what the winters are going to be like where we're located. It's something I kind of overlooked when I started this. We'll find out in a few months, though. Otherwise, she should just be grazing about until we ever need to travel, or periodically Nathan might need to shear her wool, or fur for wool, I don't know. I do have Nathan attempting to tame a male Muffalo as well, so that we can kind of reproduce and have a bit more Muffalo wool production. But I'm not sure how many we can sustain in the small little plot of land that they have, so I'm not sure. We'll find that out too over time. Otherwise, most of the construction projects were finished today. Jop is just finishing the stove, and there's only one door to construct left on our plans. It was kind of a foolish oversight. I had Nathan also working on construction, even though he has no passion, so we've wasted a lot of wood on botching projects, but Jop is now the solo man on the job, though of course Will and Gabe are capable of doing it. They just have other things to do first, I guess. After that, it'll just be up to Jop to kind of mine out Will's area, and then we can focus on building some bedrooms and a dining room for the rest of the colony. For the final update of today's episode, we watch as Jop completes the first bedroll of the colony. It's not an ideal one, to be fair. It is awful quality, and in general, people don't really like bedrolls, but it's better than what we have been using, and until we research complex furniture, it's the best we can do. We're only able to make the one for right now, as we're lacking on the resources, but as we continue slaughtering animals, or if we ever harvest the cotton or the wool from our Muffalo, we'll be able to make up to a quartet eventually. But on the subject of researching, I have yet to get Nathan started on beer brewing, as he was cleaning and hauling supplies around for us. But in the next episode, that will be one of the first things I get him to work on. We have our first passerby on the map, a member of the Eogulka tribe, but they don't really come near us at all, and don't seem to have any interest in knowing us either. You can see we have an enclosed area now that is bigger than just the tiny room Gabe has been sleeping in. So I'll be moving all the beds in there for now so they don't get upset about sleeping outside. And we're also working on a temporary dining area too. For now, that is all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.